Wherever you are on your journey, welcome. I'm Jackie, and this is my journey called Personally Driven. So, I wanted to share with you all. I'm working on sharing my experiences as they happen. So, like recording them right afterwards, because I'm doing this for one, myself to get better at um it's kind of like journaling, but it's verbally journaling, you know? So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing it. Because I get answers from spirit actually when I talk out loud. so so that's one reason why I do it. But also too, um, for the past few months, I am a part of two other spiritual groups. And in those groups, I have been told several times to share my experiences, and that with sharing my experiences, that it could help other people. Um, because I am on this journey of finding what is my purpose. Now, when I say that is, I mean, I know that I'm here to serve, but I'm discovering, or let's see, trying to be mindful of my words too. But I know I'm here to serve, but I'm just wondering in which way and how do I serve people? Because I know I'm here to help, and I know that feeds my soul. Um, when I do things for others, when I help people, it gives me joy. So I know that I'm here to do that, but I'm just curious. I'm just wondering in which capacity do I help people? So one of the ways that I'm doing it right now is by sharing my experience, my stories. So um so this just occurred. I have so much to share with you all. Anyway, so this just happened. So I'm sharing this because this was on my mind. And like I stated earlier, when I tend to talk to myself like this, in this form, in this way, it helps me to come with answers. I I hear spirit more when I speak out loud and talk about it and ask the questions. It hits me, insight hits me, spirit hits me. So I'm sharing this with you all. I was in my feelings earlier, but I feel so much better now. Because this is actually my second time recording. I didn't like the first recording. Um, I think I'm not going to say stuttering, but I just couldn't get my words together. And it was a bit much. Now, I don't filter myself, I don't edit these audios. Either I will delete them or I'll keep it. So I feel better now after doing the first recording. So let me share with you what happened. My mom accidentally called me. Uh, my mom still has a house phone. So she accidentally called me. And let me give you a little backstory on that. Every time my mom accidentally calls me, I crack up because we all call it, most of us call it butt dialing, right? When someone calls you from their cell phone by accident because their cell phone was in their pocket or something like that, you were the last person they spoke to. And so it dials you, right? So we most of us know that it's called butt dialing. Well, my mother, who will be 80 this year, she calls it booty call. So, and it cracks me up. I remember the first time she said, I remember the first time that she called me and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I booty called you. And I just busted out laughing. I said, what? And she said, yeah, I just did a booty call. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no, mom, it's not called booty call. I was like, that's something totally different. But anyway, it just cracks me up. So she calls it booty call. Anyway, so I'm like, hello, hello on the phone, and she's not answering. And I'm like, oh, my mom must have butt dialed me. So she calls me, and no, I call her and I said, hey, mom, did you mean to call me? And she goes, no, I meant to call your nephew back because he called me. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, no, did I ask her what was going on? I don't think I asked her what was going on. I was about to get off the phone and she says, yeah, he called me. I think it's about the hurricane in Florida. So I had no idea there was a hurricane in Florida because I'm not on social media like that. Like that. Let me say it differently. So like when I'm sharing my podcast, I'll put it on social media, but I don't really read other people's things on social media. And I do that for myself um because I found, this is just my personal opinion, I found that a lot of times people that share things on social media, the people that I follow, or I'm not going to say follow, but I feel like, let me just say it like this. I call Facebook fake book because a lot of people that post things on there, um, it's not true, or it's their opportunity to create their avatar. So you could look like anything you want to online. You know, you can make it look like you have the perfect family, the perfect spouse, the perfect children, live in the perfect home and have a perfect car and have the perfect job or the perfect business. So anyway, I say all that to say, um, and also too, there's some people on social media that shares the news, all the negative things that are going on in the world. Um, and I choose to filter what it is that I read, watch. I purposely pick certain things to read and watch and listen to. And so that's why I don't do social media. Now, I say all that to say I do watch YouTube. I do, that's my form of entertainment and also learning on YouTube. But I also filter that too. I decide what it is that I want to watch. And that's mainly because of the how the algorithms are set up and things that they show you. It's because of what you've been watching. So um, it's just set up that way. So if you're watching something negative, they're going to keep on feeding that to you. And I believe that goes within your subconscious mind, or should I say it differently? It goes within my subconscious mind and it affects the way that I am, the way that I feel. I'm a very sensitive person. Um, let's see if you understand what I mean by sensitive. Like I feel people. Don't get me wrong though. I am originally from New Jersey. And so you don't want to see Jersey Jackie come out. So don't get it twisted. I'm sensitive, but I will protect myself as well. So, but getting back to the story. I don't know why it just went there, but so yeah, I don't really do social media. I do watch YouTube, but I control or I decide what it is that I want to watch. So I don't I didn't know anything about what was going on weather-wise. And how I get my weather, just in case if people are concerned, like, well, how do you know what's going on in the world? I know some people say that. Well, here's the thing for me about the news. The news, I remember when I was younger and the news would talk about things that happened locally, but it also shared great things that was going on in your neighborhood, in your area, in your community, all the great things that people were doing and what you could be a part of. It used to be balanced, I guess you would say. I don't know when it shifted, but when it shifted to what it is now, also too, we never had news 24 hours a day either, 7 days a week. Um, I remember a time when TV used to cut off at a certain time at night. And that was healthy. That was really healthy because sometimes it's just good to be in silence, or not to be so overstimulated, because now we have news 24 hours a day. We have social media at any time of the day, just information all day long. We have access to it to our fingertips, right? We don't have to go to the library anymore or break out a encyclopedia anymore. So, and I find that because of that, there's an increase of anxiety, depression, suicide, things in that nature, because of information overload. That's just one aspect, because we could go on with other things like chemtrails and our food and water being contaminated and poisoned. But I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'm sure I'll talk about that on another podcast. But so I do find out about the weather, but I find out by using my cell phone. So I don't have to turn on the news to find out about the weather. It's right on my cell phone. I could just click on it, I can see what the weather is going to be hour by hour, which I think is so amazing how they break it down by hour. Pretty awesome. So anyway, so my mom told me about a hurricane possibly coming to Florida, where my nephews are. So I got off the phone with her. Well, I did tell her before I got off the phone, well, I said, they know that they're more than welcome to come to my house if they need to evacuate or whatever. They know that, right? And she goes, oh, yeah. They definitely know that. So I'm like, okay. So we get off the phone. Well, I call my son because my nephews, they're all in a group chat together. So they talk to each other all the time through group chat. And so I was curious to know, well, I wonder if my son knows, or did they mention it in the chat? So I called my son and he's like, yeah, mom. And I said, hey, did you hear about there's a hurricane coming to Florida? Did your cousins mention it? And he said, yeah, the oldest one did mention it in the chat. So he said he told him, you know, you're more than welcome to come to my home or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But my son doesn't have his spare room set up. So he was telling me while we were on the phone that he was ordering a bed and all that kind of stuff to get it ready for just in case if they come. So I was like, okay. So when I got off the phone with him, I was all in my feelings. And I was in my feelings because I was like, wow, none of them reached out to me to say, hey, Aunt. They call me Aunt. Sometimes they call me Aunt J. But none of them text me to say, hey, we might need to evacuate. Can we come your way? Right? And my first thought was, I got a little emotional and I was like, dang, why nobody wanted to come here? Right? I took it personally, but that's what I do sometimes. I'm working on that, not to be so much in my head. Because I could go down a rabbit hole being all up in my head. But so I was feeling a little emotional and feeling a certain kind of way, like, wow, why did it reach out to me? So I had a thought, and like I said, I'm working on myself. So I said, let me text them and remind them that, hey, you guys know you are welcome to come to my home if you need to. So I sent them a message, and I told each and every one of my nephews, I have 3. So I reached out to my nephews on text. I text them individually, and said, hey, mom just told me about the hurricane, and you guys know you're more than welcome. You do know, I said it as a question so they can respond back. So I said, you do know you're welcome to come here, right? Well, the oldest nephew, he responded back, Rich, he responded back and said that, yes, he knows and thank you. But he also said that they haven't decided if they were going to evacuate yet. They're waiting to see. Him and his wife are making a decision about it. But he also told me that my son opened up his home to them, and that's probably where they'll go. Which that made me feel so much better, because I see it as he knew that he could come to my home, and he's going to my son's because my son offered it first. So I didn't feel a certain kind of way. Now, my other 2 nephews, they haven't responded yet, but I'm not offended by it in no kind of way, because that's what they typically do. Sometimes they respond to me right away, or sometimes it takes a couple of days. Um, I ain't gonna throw one under the bus, but I do have one nephew in particular. He's gotten better though this year, so I'm gonna back up off him. But I got one nephew, child. He don't never respond, ever, ever, ever. But I can't say that anymore. This year he has been responding. So I'm not gonna call him out, but I know that I feel better because I sent the text to remind them my home is open to you. So you're more than welcome to come, right? So I did my part. And since I did that, I feel so much better. Did I just mess up my recording? Okay, anyway. So I am sharing this with you all because every experience is a learning experience. And I figured if I learned from it, hopefully you may learn something from it, take away something from it, and learn from it. And sharing my story may help you in some form or fashion. So, yeah. So, the learning lesson that I got from this experience is that not to jump to conclusions so quickly and take things personally. And if something is on your mind, go ahead and pose the question. Ask someone what it is that you're thinking or feeling in that situation and address it. So that way it will be squashed. You know what I'm saying? That was the learning lesson that I got from it. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, peace.